Why do relationships feel exhausting? Some people are not tired of love. They are tired of abandoning themselves to keep it. You answer messages when your mind is already exhausted. You keep explaining yourself, repeating yourself, trying to prevent conflict before it even happens. You stay emotionally available even when your own heart feels empty. And slowly, relationships stop feeling like connection. They start feeling like emotional labor. There are people who wake up already emotionally tired, not because life is hard, but because they spend most of their energy managing other people's emotion. They monitor tone changes, short replies, delayed responses, facial expressions, energy shifts. One small change in behavior, and their mind immediately starts searching for danger. Did I do something wrong? Are they upset with me? Are they losing interest? So instead of relaxing inside relationships, they become emotional detective, always scanning, always adjusting, always trying to keep peace. And the strange part is, most people around them never notice, because exhausted people often look like calm on the outside. They still smile, still help others. They still show up, but eternally, their nervous system never rests. Even love begins to feel heavy, not because they hate people, but because they learn that connection requires self-sacrifice. So they overgive, over-explain, they overthink, overstayed, and eventually they begin disappearing inside relationships while trying to keep those relationships alive. But here's the hidden truth most people never realize. Relationships are not always exhausting because of the people involved. Sometimes they become exhausting because of the role you unconsciously play inside them. The peacemaker, the fixer, the emotional caretaker, the one who absorbs tension so nobody else has to feel uncomfortable. And after years of doing this, your body starts confusing love with emotional responsibility. You stop asking, "Did I feel safe here?" and start asking, "How do I keep this connection from breaking?" That changes everything. My dear friend, many people are not actually afraid of losing relationships. They are afraid of what losing the relationship might say about them. because deep inside, they connected their worth to being needed. So they tolerate emotional exhaustion to avoid emotional abandonment. That is why some people cannot rest during silence, because silence feels dangerous. No message, panic, different tone, overthinking, distance, fear. And the mind creates stories immediately. They are leaving me. They are changing. I'm becoming unimportant. So the person starts working harder emotionally, more checking, more pleasing, more proving. But exhausting relationships are often built on one invisible pattern. One person keeps abandoning their own emotional boundaries to maintain emotional closeness, and eventually their soul becomes tired of carrying a connection that was supposed to carry both people. Dear friend, ancient wisdom taught that when a person loses inner balance, their outer relationships begin to feel heavy. Because relationships were never meant to replace your inner peace. They were meant to expand it. Even nature reflects this truth. A tree does not force its roots into unstable ground. Water does not fight every rock in its path. Yet humans often force themselves into emotional environments that constantly drain them, then wonder why they feel spiritually exhausted. Sometimes exhaustion is not a sign that you are incapable of love. Sometimes it is a signal that your spirit is tired of surviving inside connection instead of living inside it. So listen to this. The deepest exhaustion in relationships usually comes from emotional performance. Pretending you are okay. Pretending you are not hurt. Pretending you are not overwhelmed. Pretending you are not slowly disappearing inside the expectations of others. And the body keeps score because the nervous system cannot relax in places where authenticity feels unsafe. So even during peaceful moments, you still feel tension because internally you are carrying the weight of who you think you must become to remain loved. This is the hidden exhaustion, not love itself, but the fear attached to it. Let me tell you the truth. Healthy relationships do not constantly require you to betray yourself to keep them alive. Real connection does not demand the destruction of your inner peace. And many people spend years trying to earn love when they were only supposed to experience it honestly. That is why this scripture speaks speaks so deeply. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Proverbs 4:23. Not because the heart should become cold, but because constantly pouring from an exhausted heart eventually leaves nothing behind but emotional emptiness. Here's the solution, my dear friend. Something powerful most people never try. For the next 7 days, before responding emotionally to anyone, pause for 10 seconds and ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Before I manage someone else's feelings. Not what they feel, not what they need, what you feel. This interrupts emotional self-abandonment because many exhausted people have spent so long reading others. They no longer hear themselves. That small pause begins reconnecting you back to your own emotional reality. And slowly, relationships stop feeling like survival. You know, a river becomes muddy when constantly disturbed. But when the water becomes still, clarity returns naturally. The human mind is the same. Constant emotional chaos clouds your inner voice. Stillness allows you to finally see what has been draining you all along. You are not weak for feeling emotionally tired. You are not broken because relationships sometimes overwhelm you. Some hearts simply carry too much for too long without rest. And maybe your exhaustion is not failure. Maybe it is your inner self asking for honesty, asking for balance, asking for space and peace. Not every connection deserves your complete emotional sacrifice. And not every distance means rejection. Sometimes, space is where the soul finally breathes again. One day, you may realize that the relationships which feel safe or safest are not the ones where you constantly perform, but the ones where you can finally be still. No fear, no over-explaining, no emotional survival, just presence. And for the first time in a long time, your heart no longer feels tired of connection because it finally stopped fighting to deserve it. Dear friend, what part of this felt closest to your life? When did relationships start feeling emotionally heavy for you? And have you ever felt yourself disappearing while trying to keep a connection alive? Leave your comments in the comment section. I am ThePZipporah.